At the beginning of The Empire Strikes Back, on the ice planet Hoth, Luke Skywalker is attacked by a Wampa and dragged into its cave. Inside the cave, we witness Luke use the Force and for the first time pull his lightsaber to his hand to cut himself free from the ice and escape the Wampa. But have you ever wondered what Luke was thinking when he woke up inside the cave, hanging upside down? What was going through his mind as he concentrated and focused on his father's lightsaber in the snow? We are given these answers in perfect detail in the novelization of The Empire Strikes Back. Let's begin. After Luke had told Han Solo that he spotted a meteorite near him and was going to check it out, he clicked off his comlink. Luke then turned his attention to his Tonton, as it was pacing and shifting its weight from one foot to another. Not wasting a moment, Luke removed a small object from his utility belt and adjusted his miniature controls. Before he even had time to react, a shadow crossed over him, towering above him by a good meter and a half. Luke spun around, and suddenly it seemed as if the terrain itself had come to life. A great white furred bulk rushed savagely at him. The huge claw of the Wampa struck him hard and flat against his face, knocking him off the Tonton and into the freezing snow. The roars of another Wampa ice creature finally awakened the battered young rebel commander. Luke's head was spinning, aching, perhaps exploding for all he could tell. With painstaking effort, he brought his vision into focus, discerning that he was in an ice gorge, its jagged walls reflecting the faded twilight. He suddenly realized that he was hanging upside down, arms dangling and fingertips some 30 centimeters from the snowy floor. His ankles were numb. He craned his neck and saw that his feet were frozen in ice, hanging from the ceiling, and that the ice was forming on his legs. He could feel the frozen mask of his own blood caked on his face where the Wampa had viciously slashed him. Again, Luke heard the bestial moans, this time louder, as they resounded through the deep and narrow passageway of ice. The roars of the monster were deafening. He wondered which would kill him first, the cold or the fangs and claws of the thing that inhabited the gorge. I've got to free myself, he thought, and get free of this ice. His strength had not yet returned fully, but with a determined effort, he pulled himself up and reached for the confining bonds, but he was still too weak. Luke could not break the ice and fell back into his hanging position, the white floor rushing up at him. Relax, he said to himself. Relax. The ice walls creaked with the ever louder bellows of the approaching creature. Its feet crunched on the frigid ground, coming frighteningly nearer. It would not be long before the shaggy white horror would be back, and possibly warming the cold young warrior in the darkness of his belly. Luke's eyes darted about the cave, finally spotting the pile of gear he had brought with him on his mission, now lying in a useless, crumbled heap on the floor. The equipment was nearly a full, unattainable meter beyond his grasp, and with that gear was a device that entirely captured his attention, a hand grip unit with a pair of small switches and a metal disc. The object had once belonged to his father, a former Jedi Knight, who had been betrayed and murdered by the young Darth Vader, but it was now Luke's, given to him by Ben Kenobi to be wielded with honor against Imperial tyranny. In desperation, Luke tried twisting his aching body just enough to reach the discarded lightsaber, but the freezing cold coursing through his body slowed him down and weakened him. Luke was beginning to resign himself to his fate as he heard the snarling Wampa approaching. His last feelings of hope were nearly gone when he sensed the presence. But it was not the presence of the white giant that dominated this gorge. Rather, it was that soothing spiritual presence which occasionally visited Luke in moments of stress and danger. The presence that had first come to him only after old Ben, once again in his Jedi role of Obi-Wan Kenobi, vanished into a crumble of his own dark robes after being cut down by Darth Vader's lightsaber. The presence that was sometimes like a familiar voice, an almost silent whisper that spoke directly to Luke's mind. Luke, the whisper was there again, hauntingly. Think of the lightsaber in your hand. The words made Luke's already aching head throb. Then he felt a sudden resurgence of strength, a feeling of confidence that urged him to continue fighting, despite his apparently hopeless situation. His eyes fixed upon the lightsaber. His hand reached out painfully, the freezing in his limbs already taking its toll. He squeezed his eyes, shut in concentration, but the weapon was still beyond his reach. He knew that the lightsaber would require more than just struggling to reach. "I have to relax," Luke told himself. Relax. Luke's mind whirled as he heard the words of his embodied guardian. "Let the Force flow, Luke." Luke then saw the inverted image of the Wampa creature looming, its raised arms ending in enormous claws. He could see the face now for the first time, and shivered at the sight of the beast's ram-like horns, as well as the quivering lower jaw with its protruding fangs. But then the warrior divorced the creature from his thoughts. He stopped struggling for his weapon. His body relaxed and went limp, allowing his spirit to be receptive to his teacher's suggestion. Already, he could feel coursing through him that energy field generated by all living beings that bound the very universe together, the Force. As Obi-Wan Kenobi had taught him, the Force was within Luke to use as he saw fit. The Wampa spread its black hooked claws and humbered toward Luke. Suddenly the lightsaber, as if by magic, sprang to Luke's hand. Instantly, he pressed the colored button on the weapon, releasing a blade-like beam that quickly severed his icy bonds. As Luke, weapon in hand, dropped to the floor, the monstrous figure towering over him took a cautious step. Though it was difficult to move, Luke jumped to his feet and waved his lightsaber with a snow-white mass of muscle and hair, forcing it back a step, and then another step. Bringing the weapon down, Luke cut through the monster's hide with the blade of light. The Wampa creature shrieked, its hideous roar of agony shaking the gorge walls. The sky was already noticeably darker, and with the encroaching darkness came the colder winds. The Force was with Luke, but even that mysterious power could not warm him now. Every step he took as he stumbled out of the gorge was more difficult than the last. Finally, his vision dimming as rapidly as the daylight, Luke stumbled down an embankment of snow and was unconscious before he even reached the bottom. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video and learned something new, please like and subscribe. May the Force be with you.